So you know how when you say something's a sleeper, it means it's got a lot of performance. It just is kind of hidden and you just never really realized it. My first Osight, it had insomnia. No, seriously, this thing never went to sleep. Let's take a deeper look at this red dot system from my friends over at Osight with no strings attached. You're going to get the absolute truth of everything that I ran into with this. Now, in full transparency, I wasn't excited to test this optic. Years ago, I had a bad experience with Olight's marketing team, and that just stuck with me. Now, I didn't jump at it, but if I'm going to talk optics, I got to face my biases head on, and that's where we're at right now. So they sent me an Osight X and an Osight S to play with. Now, this is my first Osight right here. It's the Osight X. Now, it's got a lot of features, but programming it, well, it was kind of temperamental, kind of like a 2-year-old coming down from a sugar crash. Now, I said it had insomnia, and that's exactly what it is. When I programmed the shake awake feature, it just never programmed. It was always on. It would never go to sleep. And the glass on it, well, somewhere in the middle, there's a slight wave to it. Now, I really have to look at it hard to see it, but it's there if I really pay attention. Now, regardless of these problems, I took this out to the range and did some testing on it, and well, we ran into some problems.
Reshots, the red dots already on.
But to be completely honest with you, that was my fault. I didn't torque it down correct. So, well, that's on me. Torqued it down, and this thing really started working. And man, I really do like that big optic window. It just gives you a great sight picture. Now, before we go on, let's talk about something. How would you have tested this? Would you trust it? Drop me a comment down below. I really want to know. Now, even though this one doesn't sleep, it still performed fine. I have over 800 rounds into this optic right here. But that's where the story is going to split. Let's talk about the second one they sent me. So the second one went on to this rifle, which we affectionately call the Test Mule. Got its name because this is a 308 with a 16-inch barrel, a brake, and well, the gas system, it's just completely wide open. So that bolt carrier is slamming to the back. If you have a problem with a product, this rifle typically finds it. Now, what was really cool about the second one they sent, it had this pick rail riser. Really cool, so that way I can co-witness right through the sight. Now, they never asked for this one back, so I'm going to keep on testing it because, well, why not? Now, before we get really down to the initial impressions, let's talk a little bit about features. Now, the first thing is they have this magnetic charging cover that you probably have all heard about. It just kind of snaps on and it gives you a status of the red dot charge. Now, they say this is going to recharge this optic up to 3 times, but, well, with the lifespan that they're saying this is, it's going to take over 200 and some odd days before this is going to die. So it's a little hard to test whether this is going to be 3 times or not. Now, you charge the battery cover off a USB-C port, which is really cool, but you have a problem. Well, if you ever lose this, you're stuck with whatever charge this is for the rest of its life, which is going to be just under a year. It'd be really cool if they figured out a way of putting a charge port onto the red dot itself. Now, they say this is the OAL alloy, and that it's stronger and lighter than 7075 aluminum. A little hard to test that, but I will tell you, I've dropped this a few times, and it hasn't affected the body at all. Yes, I got a couple of dings on it, but that's all it really has happened. Now, they're really pushing this OAL, but one thing that I found that was interesting is right here, this riser. If this OAL is so great, why is this riser made out of 7075? Now, it's a multi-reticle system with a 3 MOA dot, a 32 MOA circle, or well, both if you want to. Now, you have a 1 MOA adjustment per click with a 45 MOA windage and elevation range. It's also IPX7 weather resistant, which says it's safe to be submerged up to about 3 feet for about 30 minutes. Now, it says the battery life is about 5,700 hours, but I haven't been able to test that claim because, well, I've only had these for a few months and it's going to take me almost a year. That's if I start right now. So that's going to be a long-term item to test. Now, this whole test started off with a lot of reluctance, but after 2 units, multiple guns, and 1 angry torque wrench, I'll admit, this red sight's starting to grow on me. On the second red dot that they sent me, I had none of the problems that I had on this first one, which is not perfect, but hey, they're still performing. Both of them are holding 0. No matter how many times I've dropped this or racked this with my hand or off of a table. Now I've already said that I like the window size, but what about the clarity? I do think they're clear all the way out to the edges. Other than the first one having that slight wave in the middle, the second one doesn't have any of the problems that the first one had. But even then, the first one's still performing pretty good. So I have over 800 rounds off of the first one and over 300 rounds off of the second one. And I will tell you, the 300 rounds off the test mule, well, there are a few products that have failed. But this one's holding. So I really like this second one. So that's my initial impressions of the Osight X. And the next time you see this, it'll be about a year from now when we give you the long-term testing. If you're watching on YouTube, click that video right there. That video is about the Osight X. Now, that's going to come out in a couple weeks, so it just might not be there. There might be a placeholder. So make sure you keep checking back, and I'll update the link down in the description. Until next time, keep your screws tight, your charger close, and this thing just might surprise you.